Good morning, dear students. Dear students, as you all are familiar that we are going through with our chapter 7, which is about main sector of Indian economy and a special focus towards the industrial sector. Dear student, in our previous session, we studied about the meaning of industrialization, the importance of industrialization. After that, we did the impact of industrial practices on the ecosystem. Okay, in the fourth section today we will do our last topic, which is about the measures to protect ecosystem and abatement of air pollution. Okay, dear students, so these are our last two topics for today. So dear student, let's start with our today's topic, which is about measures to protect ecosystem. Dear student, you all are familiar with the concept of ecosystem. That ecosystem is basically a system in which we have living and non-living things. Okay, they live together. Okay, they survive together, or they together form an environment, or they together form a area, or you can say a space. Okay, where you will find the biotic and abiotic both the component. Okay, this type of environment is simply known as your ecosystem. Now, what are the measures to protect that particular ecosystem? Okay, all those fauna, flora, okay, all those biotic and abiotic components in the ecosystem. So how will you protect those components, and how will you protect the ecosystem? So we will understand those all these concepts in this particular session. So let's start. Our first point is introduction of the eco-friendly technologies. Dear student, if you talk about eco-friendly technologies, you know that we have, in the due course of time, we have generated so many eco-friendly technologies. Okay, if you talk about this type of technologies, that indigenous practices may be adopted to control the destruction and improve the quality of ecosystem. Okay, instead of canal and tubal irrigation, the construction and use of ponds may be popularized. Okay, this is one of the natural source of irrigation. Okay, dear students, so by making ponds are not only useful for irrigation, they also maintain the groundwater level around the region. Again, the use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides may be minimized. Instead of it, organic form of manure such as cow dungs and green manure may be used for growing crops. So all these are the organic way. Okay, all these are eco-friendly technologies by which we can save our ecosystem, dear student. Use of biofertilizer may be encouraged for controlling pests. In India nowadays, many indigenous practices are being adopted to control the ecosystem, okay, of biofertilizer. Instead of using low lying land for townships, forestry may be adopted, as forest helps to restore the ecosystem. Further, to prevent pollution, renewable energy like solar and nuclear energy may be used. Okay, dear students, so all these are different methods by which we can save our ecosystem. Our next point is safe disposal of waste. Okay, safe disposal of waste incorporates the following methods. You have the following methods by which you can safe disposal of the waste. The first one is segregation of waste. Okay, now you have seen that there are 2 3 different types of dustbin available in the market and in the hospitals and in the park. That one is green, yellow, red and blue. Okay, all these are different colors of dustbin. The purpose of every dustbin is different. So this is basically for the segregation of waste. In a type of dustbin, you can throw only the material which is decomposable. In the next type of dustbin, you can only throw those components which is non decomposable. Okay, so according to the waste, the dustbin may be differentiated. So that's why this is called the segregation of waste. Okay, dear student, as the method of disposal are different for different type of waste, it is necessary that waste should be first segregated, as I told you, according to their category. For example, hospital waste can be categorized and segregated according to their weight, density and constituents. Okay, dear student, so we can see that the first is infectious waste from surgery and autopsy on patients and infection diseases. These may contain pathogens in dangerous concentration and quantities that, if exposed, can cause diseases. So pathological waste, this type of waste includes tissues, organs, body part, human flesh, and blood and body fluids. Okay, next is pharmaceutical waste. The type of waste includes drugs and chemicals that are no longer in use, and in the ones that are written from what's spilled, okay, outdated and contaminated. Okay, so this is also a type of waste from the hospital. Okay, next is radioactive waste. If you talk about this type of waste, the waste which includes solid, liquid and gaseous waste which are contaminated with radioactive substances used in diagnosis and treatment of waste. Okay, so this is also a type of waste. So we have to manage all these different types of industrial waste, all these different type of pharmaceutical and hospital waste. So we have to treat, or we have to disposal them accordingly, so that we can protect our ecosystem. Okay, dear student, our next part is dumping. Okay, waste dumping to some extent represents the final stage of any disposal sequence. Okay, now we dump the waste. This is our final stage. Now following are the method of dumping. There are so many different methods of dumping. The first one is landfilling, which you can see in the diagram, that it is an improved form of open dumping. It can be defined as the method of disposing the refuse on land without creating hazards to public health or safety. By utilizing the principles of engineering to confine the refuse to the conclusion of each day's operation or at such. Okay, you can see in the diagram that this is the dumping. This is also a type of dumping. Okay, more frequent intervals as may be necessary. Now effective landfills for hazardous wastes are designed to reduce and eliminate the amount of hazardous materials seeping from the fill. Okay, dear student, an effective landfill includes a groundwater monitoring system. So all these are the different methods of landfill. Now next is composition. Okay, or you can say the next is composting. Okay, now what is composting, dear student? This is also this is a form of composting, and you can see that composting is a natural process in which biodegradable materials are decomposed by microbes and converted into manure. Okay, by digging, then we decompose all the whatever waste we have. We can just decompose them, and with the help of microbes, okay, the microbes convert them into a manure. Okay, so this is a composition plant. Okay, so you can see that compost can be produced from a small fraction of waste by either aerobic or anaerobic microbial activities. Okay, so these are the different activities by which you can create composting. Okay, by composition. So composting is a natural process in which biodegradable material are decomposed by microbes and converted into manure. So you have to keep in mind. Okay, dear student, now aerobic composition and anaerobic composition, you have to differentiate between these two things. What is aerobic and what is non-aerobic compositions? Now if you talk about aerobic compositions, dear student, the type of composition does not require aeration or mixing and is less prone to adore production and produce an additional valuable product. A biogas result in net energy production. So anaerobic composition positively affect the release of greenhouse gases. Okay, dear student, these type of compositions are called aerobic compositions. Now benefits of composting. Now what are the benefits of composting? Okay, there are so many benefits. Few are: the first one is conversion of organic waste into valuable end products which can be used as manure in land farming. Okay, in the land farming you can use the manure which is created by the composting. Okay, next is reduction in the space required for landfall. Okay, whatever whatever space we have required, it can be reduced by composting. Next is a reduction in the quantity of waste to be disposed by the households. Okay, whatever waste, whatever waste is disposed by the household or generated by the households, we can reduce their level. Okay, we can also reduce their quantity also. Next is recycling of organic materials and nutrients back into the soil. And the last one is reduction in the use of fertilizers and polluting weed killers for the garden. Okay, dear student, so these are the different ways by which we can save our ecosystem. The last way is drainage. You all are familiar with this particular system, that drainage, removal of surface or subsurface water from a given area by natural or artificial means is called drainage. Okay, also known as the drainage system, which we can easily find out in our locality, in our area also. So all these are the different type of measures or different types of systems by which we can protect our ecosystem. Okay, dear student, our next heading is treatment of effluents before discharge. This is not in your syllabus. Okay, now our last topic is abate of air pollution. Okay, dear student, so let's move towards this topic. Now what is the meaning of abate to air pollution? Dear student, air pollution is a major global problem. Okay, it aggravates the existing health problems. It is also responsible for the large number of environmental problems, including damage to forest and crops, acid depositions, and widespread destructions of acid sensitive aquatic environments and organisms. Abatement of pollution thus becomes extremely important. Okay, dear student, so air pollution strategies rely on government, local, state, national, which set air quality and emission standards. So all these standards are set by the governments, local governments, state governments, and different organization, NGBTs and all. Okay, what will be the criteria, or what will be the index, what will be the quality, or what will be the quantity of the air pollution? Okay, in how much extent your vehicle can emerge the harmful gases in the environment. So okay, what are the different rules for the industries? Okay, how much proportion or how much quantity they can produce as a pollutant in the environment? So all these are measured by the local, state, national government and certain different other agencies. Okay, dear student, so there is a number of pollution abatement techniques which are available to polluting industries, as well as number of policy measures for the abatement of air pollution. There are mainly four policy measures, which includes direct regulation, second one is taxation, then facilitation to private litigation, and a system of tradable pollution permits. So all these are the different policy measures for the abatement of air pollution. Okay, dear student, so now technical devices to reduce pollution. What are the different technical devices by which you can reduce your pollution? Are the first one is by using electrostatic and baghouse filters. Okay, particularly materials from power plant emission can be removed. This technique reduces direct particular emission by as much as 99.5%, but does not prevent gaseous emissions. Okay, they cannot remove the gaseous emissions, but they can reduces the particulars which is produced by the power plant. Okay, dear student, next is flue gas desulfuration. Okay, flue gas desulfurations, okay, which is known as FGD. Okay, FGD devices are capable of controlling sulfur dioxide emission up to 90%. Okay, by using these devices you can reduce the production of sulfur dioxide in the environment or in the air. Last point is several techniques can be used to control nitrogen oxide emission. A simple modification of its combustion process has resulted in 30 to 50% decrease in nitrogen oxide output. Okay, selective catalytic reduction, which is known as SCR, can reduce emission by 80 to 90%, but it is expensive to implement. It is too expensive to implement, so this can be implemented in future. Okay, another measures that an industry can adopt to reduce emission is to use low sulfur coal. Okay, with the help of low sulfur coal we can also reduce the air pollution. So these are the different techniques or devices by which you can reduce the air pollution. Okay, dear student, so that's it for today. Now our chapter 7 is finished at this point of time. Okay, dear student, now you have to do all the long questions from this particular chapter as your homework. Okay, dear student, so all these are your homework. You have to do these questions as your homework. Okay, dear student, till now there are few questions which you have done, like question number 11th, question number 10th, 9th, 8th. Okay, so these are the questions which you have done in your notebook. So that's it for today, student. In our next session we will start with our new chapter. Till now, stay safe, stay healthy.